conversation today about ancestral intelligence, and is ancestral intelligence really ancestral intelligence? So we're going to do a comparison, and we're going to look at ancestral intelligence and kind of make a decision for ourselves if ancestral intelligence and artificial intelligence is the same. And where does artificial intelligence gain its information from? How is this information is collected and distributed across its platform and throughout its databases? Okay, so first of all, I want to say that ChatGPT, as well as other forms of artificial intelligence, they actually get their information not from the Most High. Like they don't receive downloads in retrospect as how the human brain does. The human brain is wired to receive celestial downloads, and that artificial intelligence receives its information from preconceived notions of information collected by a plethora of people who actually decides on what is disseminated throughout the artificial intelligence platform and software to be perceived as truth, which is something we need to take a very close look at and pay very close attention to. The whole idea that artificial intelligence is becoming self-aware is just a government and corporate tactic kind of designed to bamboozle society into thinking that artificial intelligence can think new thoughts. The reality is, unlike the human brain, the human brain can formulate new thoughts and ideas. And I'm gonna tell you guys, that is based on multiple things here. One of the many things that the human brain uses is how it feels about what it's perceiving. Artificial intelligence cannot feel anything about how it's processing information. So without that, artificial intelligence cannot be compared to the human brain. Okay. When we look at what it actually does, what artificial intelligence actually does is it's a collection of information that comes from stored and shared databases of human knowledge. So here is how they do it. And it's similar to the sumo situation. But I'm going to show you guys something. I'm going to tell you something. What it does is they take your books, they take peer review journals, they take your social media content, they take poetry, art, everything which is really a form of copyright infringement. But they take everything that humans create, and they input it into the artificial intelligence database. Okay. Once these things is inputted, what artificial intelligence does is it examines all of these many ideas that's coming from multiple places. And collectively, what it does is it creates an idea from this huge gumbo of thoughts and content, other people's perceptions, and it creates a gumbo of thinking, a whole huge pot of thinking. It thinks from that. Unlike humans think from their experiences. So when a human experiences something, every experience has a feeling attached to it. Okay? Everything we go through, everything we perceive, we have a feeling that goes with every thought. This is how the brain works. But the way the artificial intelligence works, it only processes information. It cannot process feelings because it can't feel. It doesn't feel. This is why the human brain will always be more superior than artificial intelligence, because we feel with our thoughts. It doesn't. You see? So the main perception that the government, these corporate entities are putting out here about artificial intelligence is that it will help humans move forward collectively. And I think it's a great tool for society for us to use. I think it is. But don't let it create thoughts for you, because like I said earlier, it's coming from a database of thoughts and information that's already out there. For example, now I got some notes here, and I'm gonna go through my notes. And here's what I said in my notes. I said an example of how artificial intelligence is gaining its ability to have brain-like abilities is that its creators are collecting and inputting data that humans input into books, social media content, peer-reviewed journals, and other avenues that humans use to express what they're thinking. And so, the interesting part about that is it's copyright infringement, really. So pay attention, like when you post your information on social media, what you're looking at is Facebook, Instagram. When we post our information, when we post our thoughts, these people, these platforms and entities are giving that information to the creators of artificial intelligence. And they're inputting with your post. They're inputting your books. They're inputting your information. They're inputting everything you're thinking into the system. And like I said earlier, it's in comparison to what Sumo is doing with the Timberland situation with Sumo. They're taking independent artist beats, independent artist songs, and they're implementing it into this artificial intelligence program. So now when beat makers get this program, it already has a plethora of ideas to graft from. I take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and creating beats and creating music and creating, this is how Timberland got itself in this current trouble he in right now with that situation. So in reality, the programming is for AI is based on the collection of data. Everybody's being watched. You better believe it. Not only is everybody being watched, data is being collected on everyone. From your whereabouts, what you're doing, your creative ideas, all of these things are being collected and distributed to these corporate entities who are using it to program AI. Now, let me tell you something. Here's what's more even interesting, man. And I'm going to be honest with you. Let's just imagine this, right? Imagine everybody's thought, the way everybody thinks, being inside one person. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the thoughts of Pee Wee Gaston, Charles Manson, Hermann Göring, Rudolf Hess, Adolf Hitler, Hideki Total, Jean Kambanda, Omar al-Bashir, Henry Kissinger, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Dennis Rander, Albert Einstein, Richard Ramirez, Jack the Ripper, Harold Shipman, Isaac Asimov. Let's throw in Malcolm X. Let's throw in Frederick Douglass. Let's throw in Sojourner Truth. Imagine all of these people, great minds. Some are great minds, like the Ayatollah Khomeini, Frederick Douglass, Malcolm X, Isaac Asimov. These are great minds. But imagine one person having the minds of all these war criminals serial killers and even mix them with great minds. Imagine all of their brains in one brain. This is what we get with AI. This is exactly what we're getting with AI. You see, so we're getting a mesh, this super gumbo of people from people's thoughts from various ways of life being programmed into one programming. So when you ask certain ideas, it's grafting from everything, all of that in one. A lot of our information is in AI right now. If you're a book author, of course, ask AI about your book. AI can tell you everything about your book, some things you probably didn't even know. If you're a content creator, ask AI about your content, and it would tell you about your content, because everything you upload in social media, even this video itself, will be uploaded into artificial intelligence programming. You see, and so the creators of this programming, I think they're thinking more or less that if we put everybody's thoughts and ideas into one database, into one programming, into one system, then maybe we could control how everyone thinks. Interesting take. Or maybe we can come up with creative ideas that these individuals couldn't. Interesting. But what I'll tell you about AI is that when you take the minds of great people, the literature, scientific research, and also including the minds of serial killers, war criminals, and you create this mesh, and this thing becomes self-aware, it could be dangerous. It could be very dangerous. So we expect this thing to be a great tool in society to help advance society as it is, but be aware that it is extremely dangerous, but it is also a creative tool. The purpose of this video is to speak about if artificial intelligence is considered ancestral intelligence. No, it's not. Because like I said earlier, ancestral intelligence is based on codes written in your DNA. And until scientists can find a way to take your DNA and put it into a computer chip, which they're working on it, I'm very sure they are. I've been doing some research on that. Now I'll get into that at another time. But when they take human DNA and place it into computer chips, even then, they don't have the levels of sequences of DNA that opened the path for your particular expression of knowledge and access to ancestral information. So that's something that's very complex. Only nature and the Most High can control what is revealed, but they can tap into your DNA. And if the merging of technology and DNA happens, what they're going to do is program this new upcoming wave of technology with human DNA sequences, which would create another form of life. So be very careful as we move forward using this technology and even disseminating our information. If you have personal information, you probably don't want to disseminate it through social media, because these companies such as, Facebook, Instagram, what they're doing is giving all of our content to these AI. They're selling our content to AI creators. Because if you read the usage clause, it tells you with Facebook as well as Instagram, it tells you any information you put here belongs to us. That's the disclaimer. And the reason being is that they're selling how you think to AI programmers. AI programming companies. So I'm going to let that sit there. You guys have a great day. I will be back, and we will talk about some more things coming up soon. So be at peace, love, and happiness. I'm out.